Talking?
Alright guys, welcome to another episode of War Room Shoutcast. Siri is taking care of a couple of map details really quick. We didn't find out until just the last minute that the game was going to be on skirmish, so he's just getting those maps so we can talk about it in between games. We do have a confirmed hit between BSK and SWK, so that match should be starting within the next 5 minutes. So yeah, Siri, I believe you had something you wanted to start off with.
Oh, it's almost like I should have had these maps ripped already, so apologies guys,
we all
that's
make
my
mistakes.
fault. And hello, I am Serial Thrax from SJR. And our current matchup tonight is between Blackstone Knights and the Swords of Kentares. It is for the Losers Bracket Finals of the Winter Invitational. The Invitational is a double elimination tournament, so these teams have lost one match already. In Blackstone Knights' case, they actually lost against Swords of Kentares in the Winners Bracket semifinals. They were up 2-0 when SWK managed to rally and pull a reverse sweep, knocking Blackstone Knights down. From there, SWK moved on to the Winners Bracket finals, losing to Steel Jaguar 3-0. So they were knocked down into this spot, and BSK fought their way back into it by beating both Credit and the Comstar Titans of Rage 3-0. And they're now seeking vengeance against SWK for their earlier loss and trying to secure a berth in the finals. So, Raffle, why don't you tell us a little bit about Blackstone Knights and how they like to play?
Yeah, so I just actually played against Blackstone Knights last night. They are a very competent team. They have one of the most interesting styles for the medium weight drops, which is they like to run twin PPC cicadas to both harass and flank. Drop our air and arty. It's very, very effective. They're very good snipers. I would say they are not... one of the games we took off of them was a heavy brawling match, so I would say that their highest aptitude lies with sniping, but they are not to be underestimated in any situation.
Well, one thing we saw out of them was a very aggressive play on skirmish against Comstar Titans of Rage. I believe in 3 of the matches, all of the ones which they won, they actually ended up pushing onto CTR. I might be misquoting that slightly, but they were the aggressor in that matchup.
They were the aggressor, if I remember correctly, though CTR was the game CTR... I think CTR took one off BSK, didn't they? Oh no, sorry, yes. They took one off Blazing Aces. My bad. I'm wrong about that. Thinking about a different match. Yes, but BSK was the aggressor.
It's almost like we have the tournament bracket on the screen.
I know. It's like I was like looking at it. I was like, I thought somebody won one against. Oh no, but yeah, BA. And then Siri, I mean, I know you've played SWK a ton. How do you think they're going to handle BSK? BSK's plays fairly differently. How do you think they're going to handle it?
Well, they are definitely more comfortable in Conquest. We'll talk about that a little further, Conquest being their bread and butter. But back when they played Blackstone, I think that was in mid-December, right before the Christmas break, and since then they've integrated a few new players into their roster, and actually Blackstone has done the same since December. I believe Blackstone picked up a few of the Templar guys who wanted to play in more competitive matches. I don't think they're in their A-team, so we may or may not see them tonight, but both teams have grown a little since their last match. Stylistically, Swords of Kentares tends to play it slightly looser. They don't have as much of a strict DC as some other teams have, DC being a drop commander for our newbies, and they are comfortable on the offense as well. They like to move around and get advantage, and that's one thing that I think sets them apart, is how fluid they can be.
That is true, and we'll see. It's going to be interesting with... is the match... Nope, match is not live yet, sorry. Looking at random stuff. One of the things that's going to be interesting on skirmish is that not having a clear objective could really mess with that, because normally I feel like SWK plays off of the fact that people have to defend a point or a set of points, and really uses that to their advantage. So seeing them play in a situation with no points is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think they've actually done a competitive match in skirmish. Not many people have, but with both the Remnant Invitational, Run Hot or Die allowing skirmish mode now, people are going to have to adapt very quickly.
I
if
agree.
they want to stay relevant.
Oh, and the matches are up, I believe, so we're going to jump right into it. Apparently,
Okay,
we don't
from
have anything
Blackstone
from...
Knight.
I don't have anything from Grimlock yet, do you?
I do. From Blackstone Knight's side, we have 3 Jenner Fs, a Spider 5D for the ECM, and 8 Shadowhawks, fairly standard for this 575 drop weight. And for...
I'm sorry, I accidentally paused BSK's stream somehow, so that one's on me. There's my fuck up for tonight. Let's get into it. It's Crimson Straight on Skirmish.
And for Swords of Kentares, we have 4 Jenner Fs. They have a bit more punch on the low end, but no ECM. 7 Shadowhawks, and a Treb 7K. SWK is very, very comfortable with the Treb 7K, even though it doesn't have jump jets. They like the punch that the AC-20 brings.
Now, BSK starts off on the far more grouped up side of Crimson Straits, so they are currently, it looks like they're sending a few mechs out far side where a set of them appears to be watching the ridge, whereas Swords of Kentares starts out much more spread out. They have people all the way over by Theta and then at the original spawn, so they are, looks like they are all regrouping at the platform.
Yes, they are. The Shadowhawks just moving up onto the platform. They have 2 Jenners just scouting ahead, clearing the pass. The only thing they'll see is maybe a couple of the Jenners as BSK is moving deep into the B4 area where Epsilon is.
Oh,
if you're
looks like
Conquest.
Imminent just spotted one of the BSK scouts on the far left side. So now here's, see, normally there's a lot of pressure once you take this position to make a move. You can't really hold for too long because you could get pushed out under or flanked or moved around completely. But in Skirmish, there's really no... there's no driving force to make a team, excuse me, move out of a defensive position.
Right, if you're playing Assault, right here on the platform is a very, very strong position, because any move your opponent makes to try and go around you and to your base, perhaps, you have a much shorter route to theirs. It occupies the midpoint. It's still very good on a defensive standpoint in Skirmish, because it's hard to get strikes on you. You have a lot more room to spread out. But it is harder to attack out from than it would seem, given its importance in other modes.
It looks like BSK is pulling back. They're sitting in the B4 region on their side. They don't want to push out too much and make a mistake early. They've got a couple mechs up on the hill. Actually, it looks like SWK is moving a ton of mechs up on the hill, like up on top of the mountain in C4.
Well, that works because it's hard to get strikes on them from that angle. I mean, you're on the reverse side of the mountain. In order to actually put something on you, you have to go wide out, either into the water or deep C5.
BSK
but as of right now, it looks like they're pushing through the pass, and I think BSK could have spotted this with their light on the mountain.
Yep. BSK is very tightly grouped right now, but then again, so is SWK. It'll be... BSK does appear to have 2 lights farther off, which could hurt them in this situation, whereas it appears that all of SWK's lights are on top of that hill. It looks like we're about to see an engagement here in just a little bit. A little bit of a light dogfight on the top of the hill, it looks like. Couple arties down.
Looks like BSK is going to be pushing in a bit more aggressive instead of backing off like they were, and they might be rotating around the left into Charlie 6.
Yep, they're going to catch a couple mechs in the front in B6, actually. Imminent is right out here, right in front, and he might get caught by a couple of BSK's Shadowhawks. Already on the ground.
Kentares has put down, I think, one of the Jenners. Sue killed, I think it was Dragonsfire. I don't remember his name.
Oh, yep, good call. So the score is currently up 1 for SWK. Ooh, nearly legged Spider for BSK. Big arty hit, it looks like, on a couple mechs. Score tied up at 1-1. Oh, so, alright. Sorry. I'm misreading the streams.
I think right now BSK might actually have the better angles in this general brawl, because SWK is having to fall back into the buildings.
There's
and
the
that's
tide.
making it very hard to focus fire. They also are very clumped and are getting strikes down on them.
Couple big strikes. I can't really tell who's dropping them or who they're for. Baller goes down. That makes it 2-1 for BSK.
However, SWK has pulled it back. It's 3-2. They're trading blows evenly.
Oh, yep,
3-4 now. BSK in the advantage.
Yep. Looks like lots of legged mechs for SWK. Really good shooting from BSK right now. They're
BSK now
down.
up 6-3.
6-3. Yeah.
Like I said, it's hard for SWK to get the focus fire going on when they're being the ones getting pushed on. The possible equalizing factor is the fact that all 4 of SWK's Jenners are still up, and if they can put some of these mediums down quickly, they may still have a fighting shot at it.
Imminent takes down Bentron. That's a good shot, but Grimlock also takes down a mech, putting the score at 8-6. Oh, Aurora takes down Trent. This is a good match so far. They're seeing a great brawl from either side, but you might be right. SWK does have notoriously good light pilots, and
especially with Imminent overheating, that is a big mistake.
Oh, and Imminent goes down. Wow, ooh, Imminent goes down. They lose one of their light mechs. Score is now 9-7 in favor of BSK. Man.
And with only 2 Jenners left, I think that is probably GG, considering that BSK also has a Jenner still up.
Is Aura still
very
up?
Close match.
I was gonna say, if Aura's still up,
it is Captain Terrific and Aura, but Captain Terrific is
almost
about to be legged.
There goes that leg. That means Captain Terrific's down, and I've seen Aura pull out some incredible games, but I don't think he can take 5 mechs by himself. 5 mechs by himself.
And there he goes.
There he goes. All right, first match goes to BSK.
It was fast and brutal, but that's how 575 tends to play out.
All right, and let's take it back for... That was a close match. I really like to see good brawls like that. Yeah, so the Shadowhawk, almost identical builds, with the exception that BSK ran a Spider and an extra Shadowhawk instead of a Trebuchet. Alright, well, let's take it back for some analysis. Oh, I didn't mean to play the intro again. I am so sorry, everyone.
Check the TeamSpeak chat. I gave you a screenshot of the end of game, if you can throw that up.
I can indeed. Just 1 second. Alright, Siri, so take it away. What did you think? Were there any critical mistakes in that match?
I think the critical mistake was right around mid-game. Actually, I should be drawing this on the map. Give me a moment to get the Twiddler. Actually, I guess we can't have both Twiddler and that up.
No, I can. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Sorry, bear with me, guys. This isn't the right image. It's probably for assault, point stands. Okay, well, the basic thing was SWK took platform, pushed over, and BSK pretty much slid along the B line the entire time. When SWK got to about C5, holding here, not wanting to go around the corner into the open here, where there's very little cover, BSK grouped up and they pushed wide around B6, which gave them safe angles. Well, it gave them cover to... because there's a hill here that you can't shoot up on very easily. So the turning point came after BSK pushed past the rail line and got to right about where this arrow ends. SWK had been in good form out in the open here, getting shots in, but they ended up dropping back through this choke. And once they were through the choke, they couldn't get more than, I don't know, 4 or 5 guns on a target at any time as BSK passed through the past the opening. And so that meant that their focus fire was a lot worse, whereas BSK could just basically jump and put shots into a fairly stationary team and throw artillery down. At that point, the advantage went to BSK, and it sort of spiraled away from them, spiraled away from SWK, that is, where it was 4-4 close, and then immediately went up 7-4, 8-4 before the Jenners started to pull it back a little. But ultimately, as you know, it wasn't enough.
Sorry, I just had a couple of little small delays with the overlay. Don't know what happened, but we're all set to go. Yeah, I don't really know if there was... Do you think that movement cost them the game, or do you think that was just what tends to be... The light drops tend to be fairly... well, not coin flip, that's not true. people definitely, like, skill definitely provides a factor, but it all depends on that initial engagement. Do you think that it was the position on the map or just the timing that BSK had in the push? Well, sorry, you mentioned that
It's a little
like,
bit of both.
Yeah, being on the back foot in that drop is a really big deal. Like, if you're on the back foot in that drop, it's bad, because it means that you don't have that momentum moving into the other enemy, or moving into the enemy team. So that's what I always look for. So we'll see. I don't know what you think.
Exactly. It was that moment of hesitation that put them on the back foot. The important thing during these drops is to keep your feet moving. It gets your shots, gets you angles on the targets you need to hit, and makes it, well, tougher to strike you, makes it tougher to focus fire your guys out. And in this case, just that moment's hesitation where they weren't moving, they were falling back, and they weren't effective on target. Threw away, not threw away, that's being too harsh, but gave BSK the advantage they needed.
Mm-hmm. Somebody was asking for the ELO ratings. I'm going to just post that in chat really quick. Currently, SWK is second, I believe. Oh, BSK has moved up. Good for BSK. There we go. Oh, I just linked that to us, not to the chat. My bad.
Don't worry, I got you covered.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. Yeah, so that was an interesting map. Not much super interesting to talk about tactics-wise, but definitely a good match on both sides. It really shows how close they are in skill. BSK did win the coin flip to play on Skirmish, which I think is important to mention. They are more practiced in Skirmish mode. I'm going to bring in our two guests to talk a little bit more about the match. So, welcome our two guests, Grim57 and Defunct, both moderators here on my channel. Welcome, guys. What did you think of the match?
That was a fun brawl. It was a good match.
So what did you, Siri mentioned the positioning on the map as well as being on the back foot. What do you guys think matters the most, especially in like these light drops?
I was surprised to see Remnant in a Jenner. I mean, his stream is titled The People's Pop Charter, and he's like one of the premier snipers in the game. To see him in a Jenner, at first, he seemed to be going for backs of Shadowhawks, and then towards the end, once some of those Shadowhawks were legged, he started switching to taking out legs. It seemed that SWK had a lot of leg mechs, and once you're legged and a strike gets on you, it's just really hard to get away, and you become a really fat target.
And that is a really good point. That position did lend to, when they did take out those legs, if more than one mech was legged in a small area, they couldn't go anywhere because the buildings were on either side, and BSK could just dodge out and drop arty on them.
That's one thing I think is worth mentioning. I was watching Imminent's targeting, and there were quite a few of Blackstone Knight's mechs that had both heavy leg damage and heavy torso damage. And I'm not sure if that was just from strikes tearing them up, or if they actually had spread fire and people were shooting for both legs and torsos. And if that was the case, then that's definitely an error. It's best to just focus one or the other. Get your fastest time to kill.
SWK did land a couple of very good arties in the beginning. I saw on Grimlock's stream a couple go down in the midst of himself and the other Shadowhawks. So I think that that damage could have been from arty and not from misfocus fire. But that is interesting. We'll have to watch the next match and see if that improves or if that is a constant trend.
Yeah, it's sort of like catch-20. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's like sort of like catch-22. It's like what are you gonna do? You want to shoot through someone's back when you got that perfect shot on them, or do you want to just keep focusing on legs? And sometimes when you are not focused on one or the other, it leads to a detriment. Because usually just better just to try to take those Shadowhawk legs off, and that's just so important in those low tonnage drops. Just killing those Shadowhawks as quick as possible.
Yeah, and these low tonnage drops especially, going for the legs on mechs just as your first thing is a perfectly viable strategy. You've got AC-20s, you've got 6 medium laser Jenners running around, and they can all... I think there's 55 armor plus about 27-ish health on each of those legs. That's 80 health per leg. And the big factor is they can't hide those. If your torso is getting shot on, you go into full shield mode, and your enemy has a tough time maneuvering around and killing you efficiently. So while it may seem like the legs have more HP overall, against somebody who knows how to twist and somebody who knows how to shield, it might be faster to just leg them.
And then spamming jump jets when you're trying to avoid a strike, you end up probably eating more damage on your legs than you do your upper body. So that's also something to consider.
Yeah, it was interesting. Do you guys think that... I don't really think there's much to SWK bringing a Treb instead of a Shadowhawk. I think that that's kind of just preference, but they could have given them a... Well, not really though, because on Skirmish there's not a super big advantage to having a bigger, better light pack. Like, it helps you a little bit more in a brawl, but because there's no point capping, that speed doesn't really matter.
Well, I mean, I think that is the point, having a bigger, better light pack in order to kill things. Because again, the Spider, you only have 3 energy hard points. I mean, you get the ECM, but yeah, that's kind of helpful, and yeah, the Spider's a bitch to take out, but if you ignore it and just kill the bigs, then when you have 20s left at the end of the match, there's nothing a Spider can really do against that. And now that you mention it, that was actually one thing that the Swords of Kentares Lights did, was they focused that Spider at the beginning. They were on it, they were trying to take its leg out, and I think that they might have been better off just saying, screw the Spider, let's kill these Shadowhawks and we'll deal with that later.
Well, yeah, so one of the interesting things to note, if you look at the damage numbers, is that the Spider was actually the most effective light for BSK. And the Treb, in fact, was the... I don't know if that's just because it got targeted down first. I think Baller was the 3rd or 4th SWK mech to go down. But the Treb did the least damage of the... Oh, no, the couple Shadowhawks did low damage too, but it's... I don't know if that's just builds, or if that's timing of when the mechs were targeted down.
I didn't want my earlier comments to diminish anything of Eminent's skill, because when that brawl did break out, he did get a whole alpha into that Spider's leg and brought it down to like yellow internals, so he's just a really good pure shooter anyway. But yeah, that Spider loadout's pretty anemic, and it shouldn't be focused that early. You have other things you need to really kill quickly.
I am getting confirmation from Trent. We do have a second hit. So that should be
Would like to mention not to read too much into the Spider's damage numbers there, because it could be the difference between, well, he was the one who got a good strike off.
Yeah, damn it.
Given how good they were, all of that damage could have been a strike.
If only damage numbers meant anything anymore.
We do have confirmation that we have a hit. It should be coming up in just about 4 minutes.
Yep.
So stick with us, guys.
And I believe I'm waiting to get confirmation on a map from anybody. But yep, so second match coming up. Currently BSK is up 1-0 against Swords of Kentares in the losers, the final losers bracket, or semi-final technically, losers bracket match for the Remnant Invitational.
While we have a moment, I promised my friend and clanmate Doyle that I would plug the MRBC League. The league is still taking signups. It's going to be closing very soon. We would love to have more teams. It's friendly to both experienced and old players. If you'd like to look up the rules, and I realize I fucked that up. I meant experienced and new. Sorry. If you'd like to look that up, give me a moment and I will get you the MRBC website. There's also a bunch of news being posted up there, and much of it is entertaining, as Doyle is, well, he has the British humor, so. And speaking of British humor, he is doing interviews with some of the pilots, Raffle Waffle and myself included, and those will be posted up soon. We're actually going to be having a contest of which of our interviews gets more views. We haven't decided what the prize
the punishment slash reward. We're yet to figure that out.
I mean, traditionally during these Blackstone Knights versus Swords of Kentares games, somebody makes a bet and loses a beard. But Raffle said that he wasn't going to do that.
I like my beard. I'll do something. I'll dye it. I'll braid it. I don't know. We'll talk. But I like having my beard, and we all saw how much of a child Sace was. So.
Oh god, that was awful.
It was even better because he and Trent were on at the same time, so we got to see them look quite like each other.
Oh god.
Next map is Alpine on Skirmish. Wait, so not only is this Alpine on Skirmish, which BSK picked on the mid-weight drop, which, if you'll remember correctly, is the drop that BSK tends to run PPC Cicadas. This could be a very brutal match for SWK. And that should be coming up in just a moment here. I want to thank everybody, as always, for coming out and watching. Thank you to Siri for being here to cast with me, and of course our guests for helping us in between matches. So far, we've had good luck with syncs, knock on wood.
And I actually have a question, chat. The drop weights for this tournament are 575, 675, and 775, proceeding in that order. And if it goes to a 4th and 5th match, the 4th match drop weight is picked by the underdog at that point, the person currently losing, and the 5th one would be picked by whoever was up after 3, and they're choosing from those aforementioned drops. So we should have a match any second now.
Oh my god, Siri, perfect timing! And here is Alpine Peaks for BSK. We have Jenners. So we have a Cataphract, a Jenner, Cataphract, Jenner, Highlander, Cataphract, Jenner.
I'm sorry, could you reduce that to numbers for us?
I can try. So that is 6 Jenners, 4 Cataphracts, and 2 Highlanders.
Okay. And from Swords of Kentares, we have 3 Jenners, a Spider 5D, 4 Shadowhawks, and 4 Victors. So on this one, both the light and the heavy snipers advantage goes the Blackstone. But if SWK can get those mediums into the fight without getting torn up, then they stand a good chance of winning an actual brawl. Unfortunately for them, it is Alpine. So
yeah, and can you see the weapon? So Grimlock's in a Highlander, unfortunately, so we can't tell what those light mechs are running. I'm wondering if those are all like short brawly Jenner Fs or what, because this could be very interesting.
Are you implying that they might have picked 2 PPC Jenners?
I've seen crazier things. Let's put it that way.
I'm gonna say they didn't. It's the Jenner F. If you wanted to reduced count, you'd be bringing a Jenner D just for the additional strikes. As the Jenner D has 3 module slots when you master it, as opposed to the F's 2.
Yep, that's a really good point. Alright, so right now we see spawns are very, very spread out on Alpine to start, so right now we see both teams doing what is standard and regrouping. SWK is regrouping at the base of the hill in the back of G9, G8. It looks like they are trying to take that high ground, whereas BSK is actually moving southward, it looks like.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Jenner has 5 mediums and a small. I don't know what to think of this.
Oh god. I don't actually know. I'm sorry, I actually misread the map. The positions were correct, but BSK SWK, sorry, spawned high side, whereas I thought they spawned low side. So BSK is currently trying to get away from that high side advantage. They're pushing down towards where the base would normally be through the cap points if this was Conquest, trying to gain some distance in between that ridge and themselves. That ridge is really, for jump snipers especially, that ridge is very useful. It's one of the most advantageous spots on the map.
Yeah, in pug matches, the games often come down to who can control this upper plateau. Blackstone, I think they just realized that there was no way they could contest it, or they weren't comfortable contesting it, and decided to just drop back and
Oh
try
my
and
God.
leverage their sniper advantage if they get rushed.
I think BSK is going to pull back behind the base. I've seen this once in a 12-man. Or maybe they're going high-sided radio.
It kind of looks like they're angling for... I need the map.
So here's the thing.
It's E3, F3.
Yeah,
like,
here's
you
the
can get
thing
up
about
there.
this map. There's a lot of space in the back of this map, like the I4 H4 line, that is never used but is completely accessible, and it's wide open enough that if you have the sniper advantage, you could use it while people are moving up on you, and you could also dodge arty. I don't know if that's what BSK is going for right now, but it looks like SWK is kind of trailing them. They're letting themselves. I think BSK is just trying to lead them away from that ridge, and it looks like SWK is kind of going for it. Artie goes down, doesn't look like any significant damage. Imminent pops off a good hit. I think it was too far away to have done much damage, though. Maybe a couple points.
Yeah, if SWK lets them get away with this and take up the position that... let Blackstone take up the position that they're looking for, this could just come down to who can get a strike off and bludgeon the opponent down. However, it looks like Blackstone Knights is looping back to the south and just keeping mobile so that they're not pinned down by strikes.
That's a very good call. Ooh, strike goes down on a couple of those cataphracts. Some big damage. I couldn't catch it. Maybe some big damage. Depends on the RNG of that strike.
In any case, on a big map like this, those strikes are going to pile up, especially on cataphracts. Their leg armor tends to be cut to about 40 or 45, and if you lose one of those, then the style they're playing where they're flexing around as soon as you're legged, you have to stand back and protect your guy.
Yep. SWK is holding tight to that hill. BSK is pushing down towards the I6 area, that hill, that ridge. They're trying to stay tight. It's hard to get RDs down. You can maybe land a lucky airstrike on them from that angle, but other than that, you're not going to be able to hit them with much. So this is the thing about skirmish, is that it can lead to a lot of just exactly this, kind of nothing.
Well, one factor that you just have to keep aware of is the time on the clock, big map like this, if you're gonna try and pin them out and push them, you'll need to start doing it with about 5 or 6 minutes left. Before that, if you're in a trade-off, you just try and keep good advantage.
For anybody who is not a competitive player who's watching right now, one of the biggest things to note is that if you get even one kill and the time runs out, if you are up by that one kill, your team wins. And some wreckage sliding down the hill there for BSK. I think they are getting the slightly worse end of these airstrikes right now.
This might be a bit preemptive, but what happens if this goes to a draw?
I was actually just wondering that. I don't know what the Remnant rules are for a draw. I'll have to check quickly.
I can answer that. I believe it goes to a redrop, same weight, on Conquest.
Oh, really? That's actually really interesting.
So if SWK knows this, they may be perfectly fine with just drawing this out.
That's actually a really good point. SWK does love Conquest. It's one of their strongest matchups, or one of their strongest modes.
Well, actually, the exact wording last time I looked it up was before Skirmish was approved for the tournament play. So it was, you were either playing Assault or Conquest, and it said it went to the other mode. But I'm assuming that it'll be SWK's choice of mode, and that they'll pick Conquest.
That would also be my assumption. Yeah, a little bit of, some gem sniping going down right now, but nothing substantial.
One small thing that I think SWK is making an error on is that their Shadowhawks are right up with their bigs.
Did they see the lights
for that?
Did SWK see the lights? All of BSK's lights just ditched around the south side of the hill. They might be coming up behind them, trying to make for that 5-minute push. I don't think SWK saw that.
No, they did. They have somebody on top of the peak who's looking over and saw it. You can't really see it on the minimap, but...
Okay. Okay, good. Well, so then they're aware of that at least.
Yeah. So if they know their lights are separated, they may decide to just ditch the lights and push straight for the bigs.
Oh yeah, there they go. I think
So
they're
they're
pushing
doing
on the
opposite.
lights.
They're pushing straight for the lights.
This could be the point where SWK takes it. If they can pick off even one light, this game is theirs.
Actually, what they're doing is they're leaving 3 or 4 guys at the ridge to make appearances of still being there, while moving the rest to kill the lights, I think.
BSK's lights are dropping some arty down. It doesn't... Can't tell how that fight is going up there. It looks like a fairly even light brawl. Remember, BSK has the huge advantage in light mechs this drop, though.
I think SWK has actually hesitated a little on whether they want to chase these lights, so...
If
If they let
BSK
their lights
gets
get
in...
torn down on too much, then this will cost them.
Yeah. BSK is doing exactly what they need to. I don't... Seeing how they respond to this, the shift from SWK is what's really going to matter. Score is still tied up. Oh, I wish I had a light cam.
Although the BSK heavies are now completely exposed in the open, and
pushing in. It looks like they're going for a brawl. The lights are already in amongst SWK.
But the heavies aren't there yet.
No, they're not.
The Blackstone heavies aren't even close to being there yet.
Oh, and some of those Jenners are really low.
Yeah, like Delta Jenner F has already lost one arm. His CT's exposed. It's just a shooting gallery. I don't...
Oh! Oh, component destruction. I thought that was a kill.
No, just lights.
Very close
like,
game. I think SWK is going to get that Jenner, and that
but now
is...
the Blackstone heavies have arrived, so...
That's true, and they do have SWK fairly surrounded. SWK is not clumped up enough that arties are going to make a huge difference right now. But we finally see some kills starting to come out. SWK is up 3 kills to 0 currently.
And their heavies are in a bad shape. One of them's legged, another is stripped. They did pull back 3-2. They took down Aurora. Probably just beat up from the earlier light skirmish.
4-2 for SWK. BSK is jump sniping on the ridge. They do have a slight advantage there, whereas SWK is out in the open. But
7-2.
Yeah, BSK lost all their lights, and it's really getting them right now.
It was just a slightly premature engagement. If they had waited 20 seconds or so to bring those lights in, then it would have been a textbook pincer. But
yep,
BSK's engagement slightly early.
BSK is moving in with their heavies now. I think they know it's over.
And with the last mech being stripped, that is good game.
Yep, good game. SWK ties it up 1-1. Oh man, Alpine on skirmish. I'm glad I haven't had to deal with that. Okay, let's bring it back to talk about that map. Okay, so Siri, did you by any chance grab a screen
Doing
cap?
that now.
Great. Alright, and I'm going to drag our guests in just so they can hear Siri's little spiel as well. Oh, welcome back, guys. That was an interesting match on Alpine, and we're going to get to talking about it in just a second. As soon as I can get this image up, and we can talk about the builds. Okay, so what did you guys think of that match?
You couldn't pay me enough to have the position that BSK had there. That was just really tough for them to try to like do a pincer attack there. Having that plateau, like Siri mentioned, is probably what's going to win you the game, especially on skirmish. And now you have Imminent, of course, pop sniping like a boss. And recently, SWK picked up Goat 1000 from Luna Wolves, and he's also a really good sniper. And so you have these Dragon Slayers that are just like not even pristine. They're not even getting touched by the time that brawl breaks out. So it's really tough for those Kentares to come back from that, especially with those Jenners trying to jump in early and getting pretty tore up by the heavies.
How much do you think the rules for the tiebreaker, where it goes to Conquest, played into BSK's decision to push?
I don't think BSK is that bad at Conquest. I mean, I wouldn't even say they're bad at all at it. It's just I'm not sure if they wanted to push just because they felt they were getting the bad end of the exchanges, and Eminent didn't really take any damage until like maybe 6 minutes left in the clock, and he was getting a lot of good alpha strikes on some cataphracts. Same thing with some of the other Dragon Slayers. So I think maybe BSK might have gotten a little bit impatient, but I don't think BSK plays a bad Conquest game at all. I just maybe think that they thought that they had to act because they were getting the worst of the exchanges there, especially with that positioning.
Stu, do you have the map?
Sorting through like 3 different windows right now.
Oh, I understand. I could use, you know,
Found
four more monitors, and it would make my life a whole lot easier. One of the things that I think is really interesting about that map is just
Of course, I uploaded the wrong one.
One of the things I think is really interesting about Alpine is just how unbalanced it is once you have that top position. There's really, especially on skirmish, not a lot you can do. And I mean, yeah, it just seems like, short of just camping someplace and not taking any fire at all and just kind of waiting, I don't know what you could have done.
Say what you will about SWK's drop style, but I'm kind of cheating and listening to their comms, and Tony Strikes was definitely telling them to just stay there and hold that ridge, because there's really nowhere they needed to go there, and that's just sort of superior positioning.
That's a beautiful position.
Yeah. The one thing I've always wanted to try is holding up there. Is just skirting down like the L line and then pulling back up and just holding on top of a ridge of your own.
The only bad part is if BSK would have moved up to the ridge earlier and got really close to the ridge, it's the only way they could really like close the gap, right? And try to swing around to start moving up towards the radio tower. But I think they stayed in the little other side of that mountain for too long.
And if you throw away your Jenners so that your cataphracts have enough time to move up and not get that beat up on the way there, you're not going to end up winning the brawl once it breaks out. And so, I mean, those Jenners could have waited a little bit longer, but if those cataphracts tried to make that move across that valley with all those Dragon Slayers still focused on trying to pop tart him, they would have not really made it past that valley there. So it's sort of, do you throw away your Jenners now, trying to move in a position for your cataphracts to have a chance, or do you just wait and sit it out and try to like pop tart your way down and advance on that firing line? And it's a bad situation all around.
I think their Jenners got sent in because they got spotted, and they was like, well, could do or die, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I have the correct map now, so I can give the breakdown and walk through what happened on that game if we'd like.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Adrian?
Indeed.
Well, for the SWK side, it was quite simple. They started up north on these 3 spawn points, and all they did was push down, secure H8. They scouted that their opponent wasn't going to challenge it, and they had all the time in the world to just acquire this entire ridge and plateau. So with SWK holding this upper area, BSK opted not to try and climb up on here and turn it into a brawl, perhaps because they felt that with 6 lights they wouldn't be able to contest it properly, and they hadn't been able to scout that SWK had Shadowhawks. In fact, actually, if they had gone up on here, it would have given an angle for the SWK Shadowhawks to just go over the top of the mountain, then easy peasy drop down in and be in their AC-20 range. So their call not to take that, it makes sense. So instead what they opted to do was just proceed up at a safe distance from the ridge, keeping cover up until about H5, and right about here, I thought they were gonna like just hole up in there's a very large mountain here.
Oh god, I might have just broken the stream
behind it.
somehow. I don't know what just happened.
Alex, I'll take things you never want to hear for 400.
I accidentally just like clicked. I just clicked somewhere and like OBS went blank. Just says preview mode disabled. What the fuck?
Well, then on a limb, I'll say the preview mode is disabled, not
Yeah.
just
Hold on.
not entirely broken. People in stream, can you still see this?
Oh, there we go. Okay, okay. I found it. I found it. I fixed it. I fixed it. Holy shit, that was scary. Woo! Okay. Sorry about that.
Let's assume we're good to go.
I'm never gonna right-click anywhere. Okay. Yep. Keep going.
But once they hit about H5, the BSK ended up turning around and actually going all the way back down to I7-ish and trying to snipe from that corner. The good thing that was going on during this time was they were moving, they were fluid, and made them a hard target for strikes. While they were getting some of their own out, it kept them a bit more exposed than they needed to be, but that wasn't a big deal considering that neither team was running Gauss, neither team was running ER PPCs, and the range was about 900 at minimum, so damage was completely minimal from sniper fire. When they got to I7, their lights ended up taking down low on the mountain, just to be out of fire, out of sight. And their lights pushed around and came up I10, while their heavies once again swung north. And this is where it kind of, I think, went a little sideways for BSK, and I'm going to clear the markup. So BSK's heavies are here, their Jenners are playing around here. SWK's Jenners are still just trying to run interference and keep them off, keep them from dropping good strikes, which they were doing. They got 2 or 3 good strikes down from the rear of SWK's position onto the snipers who were still on the ridge. And at this point, BSK was still safe from any sort of sniper fire. Between this H7 position and where the lights are over in H9, that's at the minimum 750 to 800. Not only are PPCs and UACs into their fall-off range and doing about half damage, but it's much harder to hit a Jenner. Near impossible if he's jumping and moving in an evasive manner, not in straight lines. And I think where they felt pressured was with their heavies crossing H6 in the open. SWK's Victors were free to lay down fire onto the cataphracts, and so there may have been a call for them to go in and try and tie up the snipers. The problem was that they lost their safe 800-meter distance and closed all the way up into H8. At this point in time, the BSK cataphracts were still had a good 400 meters to cross in order to actually get into the fight. And that gave SWK the freedom to just turn around and for 15 or 20 seconds just lay fire into the Jenners. During that time, I think we saw 2 or 3 of those Jenners get their arms blown off, taking them down to half firepower. A couple of them got cored out, if not killed. And so by the time the BSK heavies crested, their lights had taken too much damage to actually be a factor in this fight anymore. What BSK may have done instead is just get some cover here in H6 and play their light advantage. The Shadowhawks and Victors from SWK, like I said, didn't really have good shots given that range, and BSK was doing a good job of burning down SWK's lights. As you saw, Aura was actually one of the lights who went down, and I'm willing to bet that most of that was from damage he took during this first engagement. And that, as they say, is that.
Yeah, it was a good fight. SWK clearly had the better positioning. I really guess I don't know what else there is to say about it.
Wait, I think we have a match. They didn't tell. Yes, we have a match.
Oh god. Okay, we have a match, guys. All right, we have a match on Forest Colony. Good thing we knew about that. I was sitting here like, oh god, this is taking forever. What's going on? Okay, so Forest Colony. Here we go.
I got this. From SWK's side, we have 3. This is a 775 drop. They have 4 Highlanders, 2 Victor Dragon Slayers, 2 Jenner Fs, and 4 Jenner Ds. So very heavy and very light, equal to the polarizing loadout that BSK took last time. From BSK, it's slightly more balanced. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 Highlanders, 4 Cataphracts, 3 Jenners, and a Spider.
When did SWK become purple? Sorry,
Since forever,
side
it's
note.
their colors.
Really?
Purple and gold.
I thought they were black and gold. Huh. Okay, well, there we go. I learn something new every day. Okay, so SWK, it looks like it's pushing down towards the south side near the water's edge, right by that little island in the corner of C2, whereas BSK, it looks like, is moving slightly more high, taking the ridge behind the culvert in C4. And this is a very small map, so what do you think? On Skirmish, there isn't really the ability to do... It's not like Alpine where you can run around and kind of toy with each other for a while. This is a much tighter map, so what do you think that's going to do to each team's playstyle?
Well, Blackstone's already being aggressive and pushing into the water, to the ship.
Oh wow, yeah, that's true. We already have Arties down from Blackstone and BSK.
If SWK isn't careful, this could turn into the same situation as the first game, where they're trying to shoot out of a choke and scattering their fire, whereas Blackstone has very obvious targets to hit.
And it does look like SWK is just holding their ground on this little edge. It looks like they're shifting slightly more towards the center, where Theta is in C3. But,
well, they're sending their 6 lights into the land, and they've actually found BSK's lights who are hanging out by the cave, and that's going to be a huge overmatch. 4 Jenner Ds and 2 Jenner Fs versus a Spider and 3 Jenners.
Yep,
those streaks are going to be tearing them down.
That is.
So in the meantime, all their big force has to do is just keep getting fire out, keep rotating the safety.
Yep, and
Aura
already takes down a light.
Dragon's Fire.
BSK is getting good shots. Yep, go ahead.
In this position, SWK needs to be rotating to the left. One of their Highlanders is kind of stuck out in C2. But if they can win this fight and get back in.
Looks like BSK's lights are fleeing back to the heavies. SWK did, however, manage to get that 1 golden kill, and it looks like
2 kills now.
Oh, 2 kills. Captain Terrific takes down another light.
Blackstone is now pushing very heavily around the big rock.
Yep, UAV has been dropped. But SWK has done a really good job. They've shifted backwards into C5. Their lights are flanking through the water, trying to get those, get the harass on the heavies as they move up onto the land. And SWK, they are very tight in a very nice spot for Artie right now. If BSK can get a couple good shots on him, SWK takes another light for BSK.
And they're rotating around the left of this big rock to keep them out of fire. Juliet Highlander is stripped and down.
Oh,
it's 4-0 for SWK.
Grimlock gets legged, goes down.
The lights, now that they've dealt with the enemy light threat, are just coming in at the back and, well, just harrying the rear.
Oh wow, this was this was SWK's match, it looks like, or map.
Blackstone is now counter-pushing into the lights, so this is the time where SWK, they can just ball up their heavies and push straight in.
Oh, and they take another leg off a Highlander.
6-0. Yep. That was
this is
strikes and Jenners going for legs.
Yep.
And now
that was SWK was in control every single second of that game from the time they found their lights on. Wow.
Yeah,
good.
that was well played. That all just came on the back of the one mistake with the Jenners being left by the cave entrance. I don't even think SWK knew they were there. They were just trying to go for a landside flank to come in behind the push, and then bam, there was 3 or 4 lights just gifted to them.
Yeah, BSK manages to take down a mech, but 11-1. Last mech is that Spider. Spiders are indeed hard to kill.
Shocker.
Streaks, everything's shooting at it.
More like 90% of matches that involve a Spider, it is the last mech alive.
And there it is, 12-1 in favor of SWK, pulling back into the lead. Let me change the score.
Screenshotting it now. Yeah, and if you look at the damage spread, the lowest damage number was 200 on the SWK side, so everybody was involved all the time.
You know, what I think that really comes down to is just that catch on BSK's lights. I feel like that really, it put BSK in a bad mental position and a bad position mech-wise because they've lost those 2 mechs right off the bat.
Yeah, like at the point that happened, BSK was at the boat. I still think they wanted the push, but that choice was taken away from them as soon as their lights got caught. If they had just been thinking about it, then they were forced into it. They had no choice.
Yep. Well, Grim, what do you think? You watched that match? Were you listening into SWK's comms for us again? Grim's not here.
Are you? Yeah, you're talking to the people not in channel.
He was. I didn't actually push him out, so he was here earlier. There we go. There they are. Okay. Grim, defunct. Welcome back, guys. Grim, were you listening to SWK's channels again for that one?
I did. Your stream is down for me, so I had to watch
Seriously?
the entire fight from Eminent's perspective. Yeah.
There's a lot of like Twitch stuff going on, so a lot of channels are not working very well.
Oh.
I hit refresh a couple times and I still couldn't bring up your stream.
Well, that's no good. Fucking Twitch. Okay, well, anyway, we will continue. If nothing else, I will have the VOD, and it will go up on YouTube, so... yeah, so, did SWK know that BSK's lights were there?
Yes, he did.
Oh, there we go.
In that case, it was just a simple tic-tac-toe elimination. Once they knew that.
Yeah, they were killing those Jenners before those Jenners could get out.
Okay, that's really interesting then. Alright, let's get that map up here. We can talk about it a little bit.
Uploading it now.
Great. There it is.
Okay,
Good old
so-
forest colony.
Not too much to describe here. BSK moved into the stage, what we call this area here, and after about 30 seconds they pushed into the water. They had got into about the boat, and they had sent their lights over by the cave, and I think that was just to give them eyes on anything moving into the beach area, and to look out for things coming through the cave with seismic. And if what Grim is saying is correct, the Swords saw the Blackstone lights over here and decided to go in for them. On the other hand, Swords, they did a fairly simple setup as well, spread across the stage, just getting shots on water while they sussed out where exactly the enemy was. Had their lights up on the comms tower for additional visibility. Saw the move, threw their lights in, picked off a few, continued the chase, circled back around. At this point, BSK had pushed past and tried to come in and attack through C2, and SWK just rotated back to about this gap, and then sent their lights in behind. And tic-tac-toe, simple.
Yeah, that was... There's not a ton to say. It was a very commanding... I didn't put the new screenshot up. Oh, God. Very commanding game from SWK. That is the style I'm used to seeing from them. Just very... very precise and... What the hell? Sorry, the stream is doing weird stuff. I'm not sure what's going on. Is there a Twitch event this weekend? Or this Tuesday? Does anybody know?
I'm watching your stream and the match just started.
What? What is happening?
I don't even know.
Okay, well...
There's just 31,000 viewers on a game called Dinner Date, and then it's like 80,000 viewers on League of Legends.
Well, I guess...
Twitch shitting the bed non-shocker.
I'm getting just huge frame drops. What the hell? Oh well, we will proceed.
When BSK rounded that rock to get out of the water into C2, they ate about 3 really good strikes that were placed. One of their Highlanders lost a leg. Another one was caught out in the open. It just focused fire down. It was that was sort of the turning point there when they tried to get around that rock. I mean, losing their generals was one thing, but once they tried to get around that rock and ate those strikes and let themselves a little bit exposed there, it was really hard to come back from that.
Yeah,
So,
sorry, go ahead.
with that, SWK is now up 2-1. Going to the 4th drop, it is BSK's choice of drop weight. Actually, that Imminent stream has gone black for me. God damn it.
Imminent stream is still up for me.
Grimlocks is black for me as well. This is brilliant.
God damn
Okay,
it, Twitch.
I got Imminent's back. Grimlocks, I'll try again.
Okay, we'll see. Well, it's good to know that it's not on my end. Or maybe it is.
Actually, I'm unsure if Grimlocks is just black because it's in between matches.
Grimlocks is just black in between matches, yeah. But
No, it isn't. No, he's in his mech lab. I got them both back now.
what the fuck?
You might want to switch servers you're connected to on
For-
OBS.
Is that a thing you can do?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, I'm on Chicago. I could do that, but then I'd have to restart the stream. Okay, well, we're just gonna go with it. If nothing else, there's not, no offense to those of you that are watching, I appreciate it, but it will go up on YouTube, and you will be able to view it there. So, I'm going to ask those guys, feel free to talk about the match. I'm just going to see what BSK is going to pick for the drop weight.
Grim and Defunct, what do you think BSK would pick? What are they comfortable with? Do you think that they were comfortable
lighter.
with those drop decks, or...?
I would agree with the Funk, probably the lighter weight. Our match yesterday, they just dominated us on lighter weight. I think they're really comfortable in that lighter weight, especially picking up a win here in a lighter weight.
And I see their light lance end up punk you all the time, just practicing strafing legs. They will just zip by you, strafe your legs, take it off. They're really, really good at that.
Yep, the next drop weight is indeed 575.
You know, facing Twinkie, Eminent, Goat 1000, Tony's Rex, and sort of a Pop-Tart sniper war, it's sort of a nightmare.
A little bit.
So wait, Brockle, are you restarting the stream on a different server? Or
Nope,
just
we're just going to keep it here. It'll go up on YouTube. I don't want to have to break it up into multiple parts.
Will it still be all good when you upload to YouTube if it's
It should
the
be.
stutter? Okay, fingers crossed. Like, I don't know, Emmy and Grim seem fine for me now. But, yeah, okay.
I'm still loading Imminent stream.
Both of them are
Imminent.
fine. It's just my, yeah.
On my screen, Siri is still drawing the Alpine match out.
It could just be delayed, which is fine if it's just taking its time like that. But yeah, we're just gonna go with it, I think. Oh, Grimlock's giving me shit because he's like, I've got 60-20 up down, so I'm 60-20 down up, so I'm fine for streaming. God damn it. Yep, so next match is going to be 575. SWK has shown that they do have really, really good light skill in these last two games. So I think that we will see how map movement and placement comes into effect in this next match. See, this is when you guys get to be glad you're not me, because I'm like flittering over like 13 different screens, being like, what is happening? Is everything okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks alright. At least my sound isn't broken again.
Well, in the meantime, we do have confirmation of a hit. The match will be in about 4 minutes.
Oh, great.
And it'll be River Shitty Night.
River Shitty Night. That's going to be interesting, especially for a light drop. It could play, depending on what mechs they bring, if either of them change their loadouts, it could be, if either of them went for a long-ranged build, it could be very detrimental, because vision is severely hampered on River City Knight.
Not to mention it's completely so much cover that you can just get on top of people. As long as there's an 8-man death jumper squad on the upper base. So, going back to that first match, Gremlin Defunct and Raffle, what were the errors that you think SWK needs to fix if they want to win this one?
They need to be the aggressor.
Go for legs. Just all legs. Even if the mech's back is to you, still shoot him in the leg.
Yep. I think that that coupled with not letting... I think they were slightly caught off guard by BSK's advance along the edge. With better positioning and slightly better scouting, it would be really easy for them.
River City's interesting because it could really play out like that first match all over again. Because catching SWK in those buildings in Crimson Strait, that could very much happen again in River City.
And so, I'm not sure if it was that or if it. I feel like SWK was... Well, you were listening to their comms. Did they know that they were making that push like before they saw all of them come around that corner?
Yes. Tony Rex did not want to stay on top of that side of the mountain because their mechs were not outfitted to shoot at range, so they wanted to get closer.
Gotcha. Okay. Should have a match here in the next minute, according to SWK. Well, the good news is it doesn't look like I'm dropping frames anymore. Or maybe I lied. God damn. Hopefully, nothing against BSK. Hopefully SWK wins this match, so that Twitch issues will be over.
Well, if you're dropping frames, isn't that on your end?
But it can be caused by server connection, because like I'm checking everything and like I'm not working at full capacity on my network.
Okay.
So.
Womp womp. I'm actually just gonna hop into my team's TeamSpeak, and hopefully if I can get some more viewers out of them, it'll give us enough priority.
No, it's not like that. You only get priority if you're a partnered channel, then you get server priority. And to be a partner channel, you have to have, I think it's 200 consistent views on like a certain...
You could just, to be honest, you could just ask.
Really? I thought you needed to have a certain number.
Yeah. That's all you gotta do is ask.
Huh.
If you're part of media, like a media group, you get it a lot more easier too.
Well, actually, I think it does, the number of viewers you have does make a difference, because on Jaeger's stream, once we hit about 35 or 40 people, then we get the quality options.
Really?
We have this, yeah.
That's
So I'll
actually
be
really
right back.
interesting. Oh, fuck, I'll just link it in the TS channel.
Well, I mean, the best Highlander pilot in the game's got to get priority, right?
Alright, the match is coming up. What are you talking about, guys? Nope, not gonna say it. Never mind. Never mind. Okay, so we are gonna go into this match really quick. I'm gonna drag you guys out, and then we'll get started.
I have the match on Blackstone's side, but not SWK's. So, see what we can do. Anyways, on Blackstone's side, we have 3 Generefs, a Spider 5D, and 8 Shadowhawks. So literally exactly the same as we saw before.
And exactly the same thing.
Bit of a throw up from SWK. Nope, it's a Thunderbolt. Look at it. That's how they got the 5th Jenner. So, I know them to do this style a
Wait.
little, because they like doing heavier stuff, like bringing a dragon into a 540.
All right, well, let's see how that works out for him. So everybody starts off very spread out on this map. BSK is instantly regrouping and going towards the 2 line, which is the upper city side. The west.
Yeah, the west side,
the
the upper city. SWK is playing it fairly standard, just regrouping behind the Citadel for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I got both streams up now. It's just BSK's 4 seconds ahead.
You've got to be fucking me. That totally did it. My stream quality just went up hugely. Alright, killer.
The more you know. SWK is rotating around more into the city side. I think they might be angling for taking the upper base area. Both teams are kind of just circling the map, doing the old River City Shuffle, except the River City Shuffle doesn't end now that there are no bases. So...
I think... And see, this is where that choice to become really aggressive is going to matter. SWK is moving up on top of... actually, only their lights are. Their heavy mechs are holding on the backside of the Citadel. And in fact, now it also looks like... Yep, but BSK is pushing across the water. This could be really dangerous for them if they don't find out that SWK's lights are over there. Or their entire team is over there.
Well, again, if they're being the aggressor, they've got their feet moving, so if SWK stays stationary too long, then they're losing the advantage.
SWK needs to come around this corner right now and really hit BSK. They're sort of pulling back into the buildings.
Yeah,
BSK
they're split out 200-300 meters in between each guy.
Yep. BSK knows that they're there now, but it looks like we've got Imminent and a couple of lights are circling around behind them. They're going to try and make this a really good surround.
Yeah, but Immy is like 300 ahead of his buddies, so
That's
he's
true.
just doing this alone right now.
Takes some good damage to the back of that Shadowhawk, though.
Both teams are holding strong, though. BSK is pushing through. SWK hasn't taken any losses. Regroup
AC-20 goes off that Hawk, though. That's big.
That's
and a leg off
shooting.
the other one. And Dragonfire takes down Iridan. That's a kill for BSK.
Now it's just evolved into a...
Yep,
an all-out
1-to-1.
brawl, 1-1. Although the advantage... It's hard to tell.
Oh, 2-2. Kills go down at almost the exact same time. I'm not seeing any disadvantage or advantage for either team. It looks like BSK does have one-legged mech. 2 more kills go down at almost the exact same time. 3-3 tied up.
This is literally the worst spot on the map to have focus fire.
Yep. 3-4. Oh, BSK pulls ahead for a second.
I remember, like, one of BSK is stripped. No 20. So that's effectively a kill. 4-4, an actual kill.
Yep. 5-4. BSK is back up.
Immy needs to ignore the spider and just get in the fight. Hotel's rear, Shadowhawk for BSK, is completely exposed. Like, Crimson Red. He's probably going to be going down soon.
One thing to note
5,
is that
6.
all of SWK's lights are up, and all of them are above 70% right now.
Yeah. That Shadowhawk was doing the smart thing.
Oh,
just
7-6. Or sorry, 7-5 for BSK.
Again, like, if you look at these Shadowhawks, they have equal amounts of leg and CT damage.
Oh, some good leg damage on that one. I think SWK needs to pull away and try and take care of their lights and string them out a little bit. 6-7, they are managing to pull it back a little bit, but Imminent's almost legged.
7-7 now.
7-8.
And with another Shadowhawk going down
8-8. Aura ties it up with a good kill. Leg is almost down on one of BSK's lights. 8-9.
9-8. Wow.
This is so close. Oh, just 2 mechs left for SWK.
But that's a leg Jenner.
That is a leg Jenner. Imminent shuts down again.
Imminent overheats again.
He gets out. He gets out with his leg. He and Aurora are the last 2 leg. That leg is gone. And that just leaves Aura, who is at 64%. Or sorry, not Aura, Craven. Craven is at 64%. Imminent goes down. Last light mech almost legged, one torso.
I believe in you, Care Bear.
Oh, and he goes down. BSK ties it back up 2-2. We're going to game number 5.
And yeah, I think that was the same scenario as the first game. SWK was caught with their feet not moving. And while it was close at the start, that just adds up and adds up. If you look, Iridan's Shadowhawk, 20 damage. That's a single hit because your feet aren't moving. You're not you don't have the momentum to dive to cover when you're being focused. And well, not really much more to say than that. So we are going to game 5. This is another great series like we had between them the first time. Bit more even this time instead of just being a reverse sweep. They've traded games back and forth. But it is going to be SWK's choice on weight. So it's... I doubt they're going to be going for that light drop again. What do you think that was their most convincing win? The 675 or the 775?
I would say that the 775 was certainly their most convincing win, but I don't think that was due... I think that was due to a mistake by BSK. Nothing else. So it'll be interesting to see how it's handled in this next drop. I'm going to ask for verification and pull in Grim and Defunct. Alright, welcome back, guys. What'd you think of that one?
Oh, those 2 suicides.
2 suicides?
Yeah. Aura and Manimal.
Oh, what happened? I didn't see it.
They shut down.
But they overheated themselves and killed
Overheated.
themselves.
Yeah.
Pretty much a critical turning point in the game. I thought SWK had that until that happened.
It was like tied 7-7 or 8-8. Aura shut down.
They were
overheated.
those 2 kills. Gotcha.
And then Manimal overheated and shut down.
I mean, at that point in the game, your Jenner's running hot. The only thing left. Would you say the correct option is to just pull back for about 15-20 back in?
Chain fire. Chain fire, rip off someone's leg. The last little bit you need.
Alright.
Chain fire is good.
Siri, do you have the map?
Yeah, give me a moment.
Yep, take your time. Okay,
I'm just gonna throw up the assault version. It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter. Chapeau. Okay, so only difference between Assault and Conquest is that the starting points are as such for each team. Other than that, the map is obviously exactly the same.
So, on BSK's side, they did a quick regroup in the park, and then shifted down the 2 line. And on SWK's side, they regrouped behind Citadel, and then moved out only about halfway there. Their lights ranged out a bit into Upper City, into the park, just to get scout intel, but for the most part, they were holding back there, in this location. They had one guy, like, just in this nook, and they had, like, 2 more back around here. So they didn't have a very tight spread when it came to actual engagement time. And Blackstone Knights just came straight in, they used some of the cover, and then pushed right through, and overall, most of the fight happened in this section of the map. And there's literally 0 open areas, and the buildings are like the alleyways are diagonal and erratic, and there's no clear line of fire, and it just comes down to who just put shots out, bludgeon in face. Not really much to describe from there. One factor I think that worked against SWK is that their lights, or at least 3 or 4 of their lights, came around here, but Imi was leading. By the time he got here to try and get into the fight, it was already slightly late, because the back line of the SWK push, or sorry, the Blackstone push, was halfway out of the water, and the leading edge was about here. And when this happened, his light buddies were still not in line of sight. So the opportunity to pick somebody off the back early slipped away from SWK.
They did manage to core out a back of one of the Shadowhawks and take out his 20, and then they moved on to a different target from there.
Yeah, at that point though, that Shadowhawk was already basically getting on land, and if you think that if those three had come around together and a little bit earlier, like when Blackstone was still all the way back here, they could have gotten 1, 2, maybe even 3 quick kills.
It did look like a really I feel like SWK was on that back foot again, which they needed to avoid. Also, the next drop weight is confirmed as 775. But had SWK perhaps pushed back into BSK, like they knew they were coming, like the light saw them, they knew exactly what was going on, they were waiting for him. I feel like had they rounded that corner into BSK and just used, like SWK they're very competent brawlers. Had they just pushed into them and used that, I feel like it could have gone their way.
Both Eminent and Aura were calling for backs on mechs in the early part of the fight. And then as SW kept losing more mechs, they switched to trying to leg mechs. And so once again, I think there was a big spread between torso damage and leg damage in that brawl.
Yeah. Boss has their Merrick match in it against Remnant or whatever. It's Twitch. The servers were just being overloaded.
I realized I muted my mic. Sorry, nobody heard anything I said.
Nobody cared.
Yeah, I don't say anything important anyways. What can I really do?
So what does Magician's comment mean?
I don't actually know.
Was that for his ranking?
Possibly? I'm not sure. Oh, sorry, to reiterate, the next drop is on 775. They misdropped on the 5th drop, so that'll be a little bit away from what we're dealing with now. So, let me just check. I think I'm going to put the splash screen up for just a little bit, and Sierra and I have been sitting here for a couple hours now, so I think I'm going to get up and get a quick drink of water, and then we'll be right back, if that's okay with you guys. So, give us 5 minutes, and then hopefully we'll be back for the 5th and final drop between Blackstone Knights and SWK. Thank you, guys.
Got anything to play during the...
All right, we are back. We have a confirmed good hit from our 2 streamers, so we should be getting back into some good old action in 5 minutes shortly. So, the last match will be played between BSK and SWK on the 775, which is the heaviest drop weight and the one that SWK took most convincingly from BSK on Alpine. So, what are your guys' expectations going into this match? Or no expectations? I feel like Siri can't hear me.
Sorry, I think you were muted or something. You came through the stream fine, I just didn't hear you.
Oh, my bad.
Run that by me again.
Sorry, just going into 775, the one the one SWK won most convincingly. How do you think that's going to affect this newest game, and what are your predictions, I guess, would be my question for everyone.
Well, I think both teams are going to stick by the loadouts they brought earlier. For reference, Swords of Kentares brought, I believe it was 4 Victors and 2 Highlanders, something along those lines, with 4 Jenner Ds and 2 Jenner Fs. So they had a reinforced Assault Lance and a reinforced Light Lance. On the other hand, Blackstone Knights brought 4 Lights, 4 Cataphracts, and 4 Highlanders. And that can work out. You just have to make sure that your Cataphracts don't get picked off and that your Lights don't get picked off, because those are really the weak components of that drop. Cataphracts especially, they can put firepower out, but they are nowhere near as durable as a Victor or a Highlander. Not just in sheer armor amount, but also in the geometry and distribution and the hitboxes. They've been better since the hitbox buff, but they still feel, in a slugging match, a little thin.
Yeah, Cataphracts, especially depending on the build. I know some people like to run twin AC5, twin PPC, or even twin Gauze in some cases. Those builds run XLs and can be very slow and very squishy, which makes them very high priority targets. But if you can keep them out of the fight and keep them pumping damage on people, they are going to be worth their weight in gold.
That's another thing we haven't seen from either side. We haven't really seen a long-range focus. Both have been going with the fairly standard autocannon and PPCs. So if BSK changes it up, starts bringing more Gauss, more ERs, then that long range may play into their favor. Tourmaline has been confirmed as the map. It's a bigger map. But on the flip side, Tourmaline is a hot map, so if they brought ER PPCs, then their brawl potential is going to suffer even more than it normally would.
It's true. It'll be interesting to see. Tourmaline's going to be fun. I'm excited to see that. It always is a fun tactical map, if nothing else. Map should be up within the next minute or so. You're fine on background noise. So we'll be coming to you shortly live with that. Sorry, there's just, plenty of issues to always be had with everything. I'm excited. Game 5, you don't get to see a lot of times in MechWarrior. It's a lot of 3-0 or 3-1 series. You don't often see a good 5-game series where the matches have been as close as these have. Even that 775 drop was clearly a mistake on one single place. It was very noticeable where and when that critical error happened. So, sorry, the 775 was not on Alpine. The 775 was on Forest Colony.
Forest Colony. 675 was the Alpine.
Yep. But yeah, it should be a good fight. I'm excited.
Yeah, if either team was running a loadout like Siri mentioned with ER, BBCs, and Gauss, that Alpine match could have played out a lot different.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The other possibility is just a pure dual Gauss sniper, and that it really doesn't care what sort of heat environment you get.
Oh yeah.
So that's maybe BSK changes it up and puts that on their Kentares.
We have connecting and loading on BSK's stream, so I am going to take us over to the overlay, and we're going to get this last match done, guys. Jumping into game number 5.
Do or die, skirmish mode, 775 tons for a berth in the Remnant Invitational Finals against Steel Jaguar Gaming.
We have
Swords of Kentares versus Blackstone. Swords of Kentares has again brought... Oh, no, this is
4
slightly
Highlanders,
different.
4 Highlanders, 3 Dragon Slayers, and what looked to be 5 Jenners.
3 of them are Fs and 2 of them are Jenner Ds. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Blackstone Knights has brought
PPC
the
Cicadas.
fabled PPC Cicadas. They have brought a full 5 Cicada 3Ms.
Wow.
Backed up by 4 Highlanders and 3 Cataphracts. This could get very interesting.
This is going to be a match, guys. Okay, so right now we have everyone doing the standard thing. BSK and SWK are both regrouping right now. Now keep in mind, Tourmaline is a very, very hot map, so while BSK does have this huge range advantage, they will have to be careful about heat.
It's not necessarily, like, even that much of a range advantage. I mean, you're still using standard PPCs against Highlanders, but...
Oh, the Jenner Ds are going to be useless. Those cicadas are going to be running around in a group. They're unless they all brought BAP, even on the Fs, they're not going to be able to break through that, which means they're only going to have 4 medium lasers apiece. And those cicada pilots are good. I've run against them before. They know how to keep you at distance. So right now,
I mean, you can still break it. You can still break it. If you stick around the edges, but if you get into a full-out like center of all the cicadas, then there's no chance in hell.
Right now, Blackstone is kind of holding in 2 separate spots. They've got a few mechs right along the ridge, pop sniping, letting SWK know where they are, it looks like. But then they're holding about 6 mechs in reserve back in the D6, D5 area, and it looks like they're spreading out, they're staying completely covered by ECM at all times. They want to keep their movements as hidden as possible. SWK, however, is regrouping on the ridge by the the famous ring. They are grouped up there, and it looks like they are pushing towards the E5 area.
Do you think, knowing that the enemy has PPC cicadas, they just want to do this fast and brutal?
I don't know.
Not let them get worn down.
They have seen them, though, for sure. Ooh, already strike down on BSK. It doesn't look like it's going to do much damage. Yeah, nothing big.
Or do you think they're going for the alternative approach and hoping to just pick off one of the PPC cicadas when he gets sloppy?
Well, so here's what BSK normally does with these PVC cicadas. They establish a good sniping fight. So they're going to try and sit there on like 2 opposing ridges and jump snipe each other, which is what a lot of teams are really happy to do. And then they take their cicadas, it looks like they might be doing it now, and they swing their cicadas wide, and then they put not only PPCs from a completely separate angle, but also air and arty. So they force their opponent to move out of a favorable position when being fired at from all sides.
Right, and you have to break that before it gets set up, otherwise, well, you're already in a very bad position.
So now SWK's lights are way out in front right now. They are BSK's moving around the corner, PPC's flying everywhere towards SWK. BSK is moving forward very, very tightly clumped, but still spread out enough to avoid air and RD, just like they should be. Couple nice hits on that Jenner. Captain Terrific is missing all of the armor off of his right torso. Ooh, RD strike goes down. No kills yet, but this is a lot of PPCs coming, and I think SWK realizes now what they're up against, and they are shifting a heavy and all of their lights out in through E5. It looks like they might be trying to get behind them.
And they have to react quickly, otherwise it's the same scenario where their feet are stationary and the angles are being worked.
Yep.
And BSK is just keeping this mobile. They're crossing the gap and then diving down low. And overall, I think they've been winning this exchange.
I do too. Grimlock there is missing the armor on his arm, but it's his left arm. That's the shield arm for Highlanders. And I saw a lot of good PPC hits and registrations from BSK on SWK, and it looks like SWK, they're very spread out right now, which worries me. Their lights are moving in, but their Highlanders are all in the back. Oh,
just double checking, what minute mark are you at?
For me, I am at minute marker 10:41.
Oh, wow. Okay, you were 20 seconds ahead of me.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
So you're gonna have to take the brunt of this.
okay, that's fine. So right now, SWK is very spread out. They have their heavies and assaults. It looks like they're moving through D6, E6, whereas their lights are trying to scout out where BSK is moving. BSK has left 1 or 2 cicadas behind to take shots on these guys. SWK's lights are trying to engage, but I'm not sure if this is the right time. More and more cicadas are pouring in. But now SWK's assault mechs are getting in position. This is not a very great engagement area. SWK is hugged up against a wall, and if BSK pushes out, they could do, which they are. They're moving forward. They're moving back towards SWK. If BSK pushes out, they're going to get a lot of open space to use those PPCs and a lot of momentum going for them. Seeing a few good hits traded back and forth. No mechs are going down so far. BSK is in a fairly long line, but that is 6 PPCs. Sorry, that is 6 PPC cicadas, which it totals to 12 PPCs, which is a ton of damage. A good hit goes down from Imminent on a cicada. It is lost. It's nearly lost its leg. That's big for them. If they can leg one of those mechs and pull away, that's going to be big. But BSK is now pulling in. It looks like they do have the momentum. SWK is holding around this corner. It drops a UAV, trying to see where these mechs are coming, but they are on the back foot again, and we know how this goes. BSK does take a kill off of SWK. Didn't catch what mech it was or what type.
Kevin would have been a Jenner, I believe.
Jenner pops over the hill. Another kill. 3-0 for BSK. They are pushing through SWK.
SWK is in a really bad position because they're down in the bowl. They can't jump to get return shots.
SWK's falling back. They are turn, tail, and run. Imminent has his back turned to all of these PPC cicadas and everything. BSK, they've got to keep this momentum up. They're pushing a little bit wide, which could be a mistake. I think they need to hammer home this push and just push as hard into SWK as they possibly can. 3-0 though. That is a huge exchange for BSK. That is great for them. Taking some really good air arty fire now, though.
Yeah, BSK is continuing to do that style where they just rotate around and push wide, not straight into people. And it makes focus fire very difficult, and it makes getting your Jenners in on that assault group very difficult.
Grimlock has taken a lot of damage. He might be about to go down. Almost legged. CT is open. Oh, and Grimlock goes down. SWK takes their first kill. 3-1 for BSK. SWK is pushing in from behind him, and now the positions are switched. BSK is down low, whereas SWK is pushing in behind him, and they are up high. This could be an equal trade back and forth. Oh, but some good shots from these Highlanders. Oh, a great arty from SWK takes one of the legs off of the Highlander for BSK. 3-1 still the score in favor of BSK. SWK's mechs are holding up on the far ridge in C6D5, and BSK, it looks like, is trying to swing around them again, but now they're suffering from the problem that SWK was suffering from, being low when the enemy is high. They do, however, take another kill. 4-1 for BSK. Oh, 5-1 for BSK. Another great shot.
And 1 or 2 of those Highlanders on BSK's side are stripped, but I think SWK is the same bad scenario.
Trent takes down Imminent with a great shot.
And while they were in this, I think their fighting chance is now crumbling away.
7-2 is hard to come back from. I think 2 of those Highlanders for BSK are in fact stripped. One of the Kentares just has a single PPC left. But even with all that, those cicadas are making mincemeat of these assault mechs. This is exactly what this lance is supposed to do. 3-7 in favor. 3-7. 4-7 now. BSK's favor. Couple good hits are going down for SWK. They do still have a couple of these dragon. Oh no! Another Dragon Slayer goes down. Goat goes down. 9-4. I think this is over. I think BSK just took out SWK. Siri.
Don't see how it's gonna happen any differently, but
I think these cicadas might be the only mechs left with weapons, and that Highlander was at full armor. but I don't know. It is 9-6. Seven to 9. Could SWK pull this back? Another Kentares goes down 8 to 9. And one of BSK's mechs is SWK might have this.
This is nuts.
We've got 2 nearly full Highlanders, and I believe the only mechs that
they're running.
Oh, they're
running.
It's only the cicadas
they're
left.
on kills. They're just running with the cicadas.
Oh, but don't they have? I think they have one. Do they just have the 4 cicadas left?
Yeah,
they
I think
do.
So.
They're gonna run the timeout. This is such a match.
This has got if it happens like that, it's gonna feel awful for SWK though.
Oh, it really is. So for anybody that just started watching, this is the final best of 5 drop, and we have SWK versus BSK. Oh, one of those mechs is a Kentares series, and it has no guns and no armor anywhere.
For SWK, you mean?
No. BSK has a Kentares left.
But
BSK has 1 Kentares remaining. That is, yeah, a Kentares 3D with no guns and no armor remaining, and it's running away. If
they can pin that down,
if SWK can catch up in the next 4 minutes and kill that mech, it's gonna be a tie, and they'll have to redrop. Wow.
I don't even know what to say. I just want to put my head in my hands and watch this happen.
This is quite the match.
I will say that Twinkie is running an interesting Highlander loadout.
I'm gonna turn on SWK's comms for a second. I just want to hear what they're saying.
Yeah. Somebody cut left.
You should probably also turn off.
Target. I got target.
Where's this music coming from?
Straight ahead.
That's SWK's music.
Right there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Twinkie, go left.
They deep to the right.
Them off. Yeah.
So they are trying to pin these guys as hard as they can. They know where.
They're not going to go over G6.
Imminent, you go through G5-ish.
Oh. I think they might have him trapped. If nothing else, they have this Kentares trapped.
I have a feeling they're gonna come right for you too.
3 minutes.
And then,
Just need to get one right there.
Keeping it on that right side, that G3 path.
That Kentares gotta hide or do something.
Stay in the middle.
I think he's trying to juke them the other way.
Target.
Stay towards
On the right.
They're gonna throw the cicadas in to try and cover and then juke the other way.
H4, 2 mechs.
They're behind the big crystals.
4.
Oh, what?
You have them.
No, they're cycling over to Twink. We got 2 on the left here.
2 minutes and
Alright.
30 seconds left.
Get low.
Twinkie, they're coming straight to you.
Twinkie is off by himself on the bottom side, and he's got 2 cicadas coming for him. And he's cored too. They could take him out. I'm going back to their comms. We've got to listen in on this.
They're coming for me.
Oh my god.
What am I
Get that right leg. Right leg on your left.
Oh god, I don't even know.
Keep torso twisting, Tony.
I don't even know what to do.
Oh my god.
This is such a match.
Fuck.
Oh, Trent takes Tony down.
Oh, he legged himself.
Leg.
Oh, but one of the cicadas' leg is legged.
Back up, so start twisting.
Just guns. Oh.
Oh, and another one goes down.
Are you fucking
It's
kidding me?
it's BSK's match. Oh, damn. This is so close. I don't even know what to do. Okay, it looks like the score is stabilized at 9-11. 1 Highlander left for SWK. Twinkie Overlord still has all of his guns left, but BSK, they're just gonna run away.
That's heartbreaking.
That is one of the most exciting matches I've ever seen. Wow. I will be completely honest here. I am at a complete loss for words. Right now there are 56 seconds left on the clock. Twinkie is wildly searching for those cicadas, but they're just running.
Their cataphract is still just bunkered up in G3 by the base, where the base would be on assault.
Mm-hmm. Cicada running around. Wow. Wow. What a game. 20 seconds left, and this is gonna go to BSK. What an incredible match. No, he's moving.
Okay, now he's just raging.
Yeah.
If he had kept moving instead of stopping, he might have found that last guy.
Well, there's 3 left, aren't there?
Well, he would have found the cataphract, and then he could have. There was a cicada over there as well.
1 and
he picked the wrong direction instead of finishing to close that.
That's the game. Wow, BSK. BSK takes the series. Holy shit.
What a game.
That was good. That was intense.
So wow. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, SWK was clearly the favorite going into this match. I think if you'd asked most people, they'd have said, you know, my money's on SWK. But that was incredible. First of all, that was incredible for SWK. That comeback was incredible. 7-2, I think they came back from, and evened it out. Absolutely phenomenal. What do you guys have to say? I'm so lost right now.
Right. Go ahead. I'm sorry, sir.
I don't have much to say other than it was that's good finale.
There was a moment when right before the fighting really broke out, when SWK opted to avoid the window and head around to the more towards the left of the map, and Remnant was in the lead, and then they had their cicadas, BSK cicadas out in front, and Remnant was getting good shots on them, and if they would have pushed hard there, but what ended up happening was there was a strike placed there, and Remnant told everyone to back off, and then that gave the cicadas breathing room to zip through and get by, and then that allowed BSK's cataphracts and heavier mechs to come into the engagement. I feel if Remnant and those Highlanders would have pushed hard there, they might have got those cicadas out of the way early and been able to pinch them there. But overall, I mean, that was just great game on both ends.
I solidly thought that was BSK's game at the very beginning. Like when they were up 7-2, I was looking at that. I was like, oh, that's BSK's. But then they started cycling through the mechs. You saw, you know, the couple of debilitated mechs and stuff like that. And then BSK pulled down into where SWK had been, and SWK just took it to him with those Highlanders that they still had up, and they brought it back. That was, first of all, that was an incredible comeback and kind of a tactical blunder for BSK. They should have just, if they were going to do anything, they should have just pushed down into them in that bowl there. We're going to get the map up in just a second here for you. But losing a match...
I think they were fine taking that upper route. It's when SWK pushed in behind them and half of them jumped and the other half didn't. I think that was the blunder that allowed the comeback.
Yeah, it was...
If they just done an entire about face and then gone back into them, I think it could have worked.
That was crazy.
Let's see, you asked early in the match whether SWK knowing that BSK has cicadas is whether they were going to force the engagement or not. And I typed in chat that Kentares Rex on the comms kept asking his lights, like, how many cicadas, and I think they didn't really know exactly they were dealing with 5 of them that early. And that might have played it into whether or not SWK wanted to push hard or not, because they really didn't know exactly how many cicadas they had.
Yeah, and I think there might be something be said for the fact that SWK just hadn't encountered that style before, and they were trying to come up with a solution on the fly, and by the time they were thinking about it, BSK had already preempted them and done that first push across the open. And from there, SWK was reacting instead of being proactive.
I'm just trying to... Like, yep. I think we saw what happened, and we saw... Let me get the mech loadouts here up quick. Do. Oh god, so big. Okay, so there is the loadouts that they had. So I think that those initial kills that we saw were definitely that initial lead that BSK got on SWK. I think that was definitely SWK's lights. I think SWK's lights couldn't handle all of that ECM and all of those PPCs, and so I think that was where that initial lead we saw came from, and then those Dragon Slayers. But when all of that dust settled, it was 3 cicadas and a completely disarmed cataphract against 3 or 4 Highlanders. 3 Highlanders. One of which was cored, the other two had fairly decent armor and health, and that was one of the craziest matches I've seen in so long.
Well, one thing was that with the way they pushed around instead of in, I mentioned this during the match, but the lights couldn't get in and engage at the same time as the heavies were. Because if they made a push, then the heavies were in no position to also apply pressure. And that's kind of what made it simple for it's a... On the one hand, it's a tricky style, but it's also sort of a straightforward style. You just don't ever engage directly with the cicadas.
Yeah. Wow.
So managing to engineer a situation where you can pin down and apply both your lights and your heavies at the same time is how SWK could have won. But they were on the back foot for slightly too long, and it's always just opportunities just flashing by, slowly slipping away.
Well, congratulations to BSK. Hell of a match. So BSK will now move on to face SJR in the finals of the Remnant Invitational. Wow. Wow. Oh wow, it's already updated. Well done, somebody. So yeah, Steel Jaguar, which is SWK the number 1 seat going into this? They were.
I think going into it they were by a bit.
All right. Well, so now we have sometime in the next couple weeks we'll have Steel Jag facing Blackstone. If Blackstone beats Steel Jag, there will be a second match between Blackstone and Steel Jag.
Correct.
Because Steel Jaguar is yet to lose a match. Wow. Okay,
obviously I will not be able to shoutcast this, so...
I'm gonna find somebody else, because that's gonna be... Wow. Wow. Huge props to BSK. Great job for them. It's hard work beating SWK, and they did a great job. I'm really excited to see how they play against you guys. But, yeah, it's going to be good. We've been going for quite a long time. We might try and get some interviews later on after the teams had a chance to cool down, see how that match felt for them. But I know after a win or a loss of that matter, it's hard to stay either humble or upbeat. So we're going to kind of leave that for tonight. I'd like to thank everybody who came out to watch and put up with all the stream issues. I'm glad you stuck it out for that last match because it was awesome. Everybody, Defunct Grim, Siri, give some shout-outs, guys.
I just want to say thank you, Ruffle, for having us on here and analyze these matches. Being in the competitive scene with the 228, it's really fun to see teams of this caliber, and when you know the guys that are involved and you've been playing matches against them, and being able to see them compete. I'm definitely a fan of this game, and I'm definitely a fan of the competitive nature of Mech Warrior. And thanks for having us along.
Glad
Shout
to
out to
have
War
you.
Room.
Yeah.
Shout outs to all the units in the competitive scene. If it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't have the War Room, we wouldn't have the War Room Shoutcast either. So my shout outs to all the teams out there playing this game. GG close.
And Siri, what about yourself?
Well, again, I have to give my shout-out/plug to the MRBC League. Let me get the link again, but it's got a slightly different style from any of the other leagues that are going on right now. It's class-based with several different restrictions, meant to make it a little fun and interesting, while also not tying people's hands. And shout out to both our teams tonight for putting on an amazing show. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Well, once again, huge shout out to everybody on the show tonight. Thank you, Grim and Defunct. Thank you, Siri, as always, for being my co-host and helping me out when the stream breaks or I don't know what to do. Great job to BSK. Great job to SWK. Great matches. I think we saw the strengths and weaknesses of both teams, and that was some awesome play tonight, and one of the best Game 5s I've ever seen. So, shout out to both those teams. Check out the MRBC League if you haven't already. It's going to be a lot of fun. Siri and I have a fun announcement interview challenge thing that we'll be talking about this week on War Room. Also, this week on War Room, we'll be talking about the clan mechs and all of the new information we have. With all this new information, there's a lot of stuff that's become clear about how clans are going to work and what we're going to be able to do with them. So, should be a pretty heavy theory crafting episode, as well as we're going to go through some of the league standings and talk about the changes that different teams have made and how it's affecting their play and stuff like that. So that'll be Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as it always is. And until then, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and watching, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks again.
Good night. If we're not already off the air.